Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Welcome to the Australia Post Horror Part 6, The Curse of Customer Service. Okay, so I had to call customer service again today because of the issue that wasn't resolved yesterday. And I started calling around 3:30 because they close at 5, and of course it was absolute hell and ridiculousness. The first person I spoke to um, just couldn't understand the situation. I explained the whole situation, that I had a package that wasn't recorded, that had no information on it, that had to be picked up from the post office. I couldn't pick it up from the post office. I needed to know what it was, because there are some items that I can just let them go, be returned. Don't pick them up, have them be returned to the seller and get a refund. And I really don't care. I can get it from somewhere else. But there's some other items that are very important I have to receive. So I need to work out which one I'm dealing with and whether or not I actually need to go through the trouble of getting someone to actually pick it up for me, or whether I can just let it go, because I'm not going over there to get it, because I can't get there. So I explained all that to her, and then she goes, well, if I don't have the tracking number, I can't do anything. I'm like, did you listen to a word I said? You missed the whole point. The point is, there is no tracking device, there is no tracking number. There is no nothing recorded, nothing on the system. That's the problem. That's why I didn't get any notification, and I have no idea what it is. I need you to call the post office and ask them, go out the back, physically look at the item and find where it's from, the address, how long it's been there, how long they're holding it for. And she just couldn't understand, and I just hung up on her. I was like, look, you are an idiot. I can't deal with you. You're incompetent. Goodbye. So then I called another guy, and I was explaining to him the problem and what just happened with the last person. And I said she was an idiot. She couldn't even understand the question. And he said, you can't speak like that. And I said, well, what am I supposed to say? She was incompetent. And he hung up on me because I called the other person incompetent. Like, that's abuse. I don't have to speak to you. I'm like, wow, what a freak. So, because I was perfectly polite to him. So then the next person was crazy in a different way. They're all crazy in a different way. This lady was basically saying, well, I can't do that because she was giving a reason that makes no sense. I don't want to say it because I know my little Auspost stalker is watching these videos, the one who told me he basically searched for me by my name and by my details through Australia Post that he got after we had an argument, and found my my YouTube channel and stuff about me, and was telling me that he knew who I was, and he'd seen my channel, and he watched watched the videos on Australia Post, the first two I did, and he was basically acting like a stalker. I have confirmed that this guy is in Brisbane, so I don't have to worry about him. He's not in Melbourne. I'm not going to have to find him standing outside my house or anything, waiting to stab me or something. And he is not Australian, so he's not white. So the race issue that came up, it was a legitimate thing. He was discriminating against me because I'm white, because he's another race, and he had an issue with he felt I was being white and entitled, basically. And I called him on that, and then he called me racist. And I'm like, well, I don't know, what you are, but I know what I'm hearing from you, and I was right. He had an issue with me because of my race and the assumed entitlement that I was acting under. Not that I'm actually entitled to complain or ask to have this problem resolved. It's because I'm white. It's like I'm just white entitled, person, and that's an issue that you get. And I'm like, no, you all should have the same attitude as us. Stop being resentful of us for having entitlement issues, and be entitled yourself and be like, I deserve better. Not like sit back and say, who do they think they are, expecting to be treated this way? No, you should be expected to be treated the same way. You should expect to be treated properly, and if there's a problem, you get it fixed. You go to the manager, you get it sorted. You don't just walk off and not have a problem resolved like you don't matter. See, I know I'm important. I don't need to be told, and no one's going to tell me any different. And the idea that someone's going to sit back and say, oh, well, you don't deserve to have this, that's not something white people deal with. So instead of attacking us for being entitled, why don't you take on some of that entitlement and demand the same treatment that we get? I see people doing it, and usually it works for them. Sometimes it probably doesn't, but that doesn't mean you should stop. So at least I sorted out that. It was about race. It wasn't me, it was him. He's not in Melbourne, so I don't have to worry about him literally stalking me. It's bad enough that he used the Australia Post details to find out who I was and find out more about me so he could attack me on the phone. But then that last person, I just hung up on her too because she wouldn't do it. She's like, I can't do it for this reason. I'm like, that is an imaginary reason. You're imagining a situation that doesn't exist. There's no reason why you can't do this. So that wasted another 10 or 15 minutes. And then the last person I spoke to before 5 o'clock, because the post office closed at 5 and I needed to find out this information because I don't know if the parcel's being sent back. I don't know how long I've got to have it picked up. I don't know how long I've got. I'm going to have to get a friend to pick it up. I don't know how long I need the details. And she just kept waffling on. It was like 15 to. And she was dragging it out, asking stupid questions like, you don't need this information. You don't need to give them that information. Because if you say to them, oh, is it addressed to, they're just going to say yes to save them actually answering the question or looking at it. You need to just ask them what's the address on the parcel. You can't say, oh, is it this address? Because they'll just agree with you to save the actual effort to find it out. So she didn't need to have all this detail. So we're arguing backwards and forwards. And then the next thing you know, it's 5 minutes to 5. And I'm like, there's no point you calling now. There's just no point because they're not going to pick it up. You're not going to have the time to resolve it. They're not going to be willing to do anything to help me because they just want to close up the shop and go. This needed to be done half an hour ago. Like I called at 3:30. It's now, 4:55 and I'm still trying to get someone to call the post office and get these details for me after all these people who can't, either incompetent or unwilling and just refusing and obstructing me from actually trying to resolve the issue. Like they're just crazy. And then she got really snappy with me and I'm like, look, there's no point you even calling because now you're just going to make it worse because you've got an attitude and you're going to ask them. She just was like you're not going to be able to help me because look, just whatever. And she's like, look, if you don't calm down, I'm going to hang up on you. So will you just go, you hang up on me, you just hang up and go to hell. I don't care. You've wasted the last 15 minutes that I had to get this done. I'm not going to get this done now because of you. We could have got it done in the time, but no. So she's like, well, I'm going to go and have a hot bath. I'm like, well, you do. Whatever. I didn't tell her to F off. I wish I had. And I was just like, well, you go, just enjoy yourself. You've ruined my day. You've wasted the last chance I had to resolve this. And now I'm going to have to wait till Monday to work this out. And it may be too late if the stuff's being sent back because it's already been sitting there for a week or two. I have no idea. So she hung up and then I called another person. And this time I actually got the woman I spoke to yesterday last. And she actually, same thing. She remembered me because she's like, didn't they call you back? And I'm like, no, they never call back. They say they'll do a call back. That's just so you go away and then they don't have to deal with you unless you come back. And it's only the people that come back they have to deal with. It's a way to thin the herd of people they have to deal with just by saying we'll do a call back. So, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's still blah, blah, blah. And she said, look, I'll try and call them now. I said, look, we've got 2 minutes. And she said, look, what address is it? I'm really going to try. So she called and they didn't answer. And she contacted a manager and she got them to call, hoping that they would answer to the manager and that. So she was really trying to help me, but it was too late. Had I gotten her earlier in the day, she would have sorted it all out for me, I know. She's wonderful. And so then she gave me to the manager because I'd asked to speak to a manager several times and they're like, oh no, I don't have a manager here. I'm working from home, so I can't get the manager, which is a lie. They can get a manager. It's just more work than obviously if they're standing in the office with them, they can just ask them. So she actually said, now I've got my manager. And it wasn't her current manager, it was a manager she used to work with that she knew was good. And so this is about 5:15, it's all done. I was on hold for ages. I was hoping she was talking to them, that's why I was on hold, but she was talking to other people to try and sort it out. And then she gave me to this other guy, and I ended up talking to him for 2 hours. He just stayed on the line, because I was really upset and angry at this time. It took me about probably 20 minutes to calm down. And I was explaining to him all these things that have happened, all this stuff I've gone through today and yesterday and that, and just the stress and the ridiculousness of all this that I shouldn't have to be going through with these people. And he apologised for them and he sort of validated me on a bunch of things. Said, yes, you're right about this, you're right about that. This is actually a little bit like this, blah, blah, blah. And it was a good conversation because he confirmed pretty much everything I thought and explained a lot of things to me. And we went through all, because I've got about 15 or 17 items, parcels in the post at the moment, from Italy, Germany, France, all these other places around the world, and a few places in Australia as well, and they're all multiple items. So I'm trying to work out on the tracking which ones are going to go directly through that tracking number, which ones I will get an Australian Post tracking number for when they get into Australia, which ones I get a tracking number on, which ones, even though they don't have tracking on them, will I get tracking when it gets to Australia, and just working out all the different things and getting a better sense. I know so much about Australia Post, I could work for them at this point. I've spent so much time talking to people who work there, and it took 2 hours, which I didn't have, but we got through everything, and it was really amazing. Unfortunately, he's going to call up on Monday and find out everything for me and call me back after 5 and give me all the information. Presumably he gets through to them and gets the answers. So I got one amazing person who gave me to another amazing person who's going to try and solve this problem when everyone else just abused me and tried to obstruct my efforts to actually resolve the problem. And it's just shocking, the contrast between the insane abusive customer service people and the people who actually try to help you. It was just amazing and jarring. And I just had to do another video about that, another YouTube therapy, Australia Post horror story. And hopefully there won't be another one on Monday. Hopefully I'll get a call from him and he'll be able to explain to me and there'll be some resolution, because I have no idea what the situation is with the package at the moment. But hopefully it'll be all sorted out on Monday. I trust this guy to do it. I'm going to call them around 3 and see, because there should be a note on the case that he's left. He said, I'm going to call and I'll leave notes on the case, but then I'll call you back at 5 just to give you more information and explain it all properly, because I can't do that all in the notes. It's, it's not like a conversation. So hopefully it'll be resolved on Monday, but I'm just so stressed because I've got so many items going through the post and there's so many potential issues, and I could end up having to deal with the same abusive, incompetent people. And I've already lost like 3 items and I don't want to lose any more. Like I said, some can be lost. You can buy them again because they're in multiple sellers, and it's just usually I'm getting the cheapest price because I shop around and I'm just replacing it with one that's a few dollars more. But there are other items that are unique collectibles, one-offs. If I miss them and they go missing, I'll never find them again. But yeah, thank you for participating in my YouTube therapy and listening to me if you've watched this. If you have had similar experiences with Australia Post, please feel free to tell me. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Bye.